Hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a paralegal turned stay-at-home mom who loves true crime. The cases I cover are wild. Topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is very strongly advised. The people mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get started on today's case. One of the most iconic San Francisco scenes is the Painted Ladies, also known as Postcard Row. The classic Victorian house, beautifully painted in blue, has some serious true crime history. Once upon a time, the Vaillancourt family lived at 712 Steiner Street. Penelope Vaillancourt was 15 years old when her mom, Dorothy Vaillancourt, went missing. Can you even imagine? A girl always needs her mom, especially at 15, and even most especially this mother of 7 children. Penelope told SF Gate that when writing Muni, she would run after women who resembled her mom, hoping to find her when looking at their faces. If you're not lucky enough to be from San Francisco, from the Bay, the Muni is the San Francisco bus system, which I used to be a pro at taking during my years working in the hustle and bustle of the city. In 1966, a woman in a red dress was found dead in Tiburon, California, which is a city very close to SF. The lady in the red dress went unidentified for almost 60 years. In March of this year, she went from being the Marin County Jane Doe of 1966 to positively confirming she was Dorothy Vaillancourt. Dorothy Vaillancourt was born Dorothy Williams in Tasmania, Australia. She met Francois Vaillancourt while working as a nurse in Sydney during World War II. Francois was an American Marine. They fell in love and were soon married. After the war ended, they went to the U.S. At first, they lived at Francois' hometown of Lowell, Massachusetts. Then they headed to the west and settled in San Francisco, where Francois worked as a painter and Dorothy worked at St. Joseph's Hospital. Together, the Vaillancourts had 7 children. This included a pair of twin girls, Pamela and Penelope. Penelope remembers how smart her mom was. She was also fluent in French and was very kind to all of the kids. The family would go on walks and she knew all of the names of the plants. On Friday, December 18th of 1959, the Vaillancourt kids were getting ready for school when a half-naked woman dragged herself to their doorstep. Her name was Susan Corley, and she had been raped and beaten that previous night in Alamo Square. Susan had been so badly raped and beaten that she lost consciousness. When she came to, she dragged herself to the Vaillancourt's doorstep, screaming for help. Penelope remembers her sister screaming, "Monster!" Dorothy took Susan into her home, wrapped her in a blanket, and called the police. Susan survived the attack, and the Vaillancourts might have saved her life. After this traumatic event, Dorothy turned to alcohol and became an alcoholic. Francois and Dorothy got divorced, and at one point, Dorothy lived in a halfway house. Due to her substance abuse, she was unable to care for her 7 children, and with their father still maintaining a full-time job, they were sent to an orphanage in Ukiah. The Albert Albertinum Orphan Asylum was run by Catholic nuns. After being there for about a year, the Vaillancourt children were expelled for, quote, being incorrigible, unquote. After that, they went to San Francisco Bayview orphanage, and while there, during a visit from their mother, they learned that she was now married to a quite literal Nazi, a man named Hermann Hesse, who was a Nazi sergeant from Germany. Dorothy and Herman got married in June of 1964 and lived in Fairfax on top of the hill of Toyon Drive. As Dorothy continued to drink, she remained incapable to care for her children. However, the Bayview orphanage also grew exhausted by the Vaillancourt incorrigibles, and they were sent to live with Dorothy and Herman. Penelope recalls that when she was 14 years old, Hesse punched her in the face as she ran up the stairs and called 911. Hesse tried to strangle her. Because one of my stepdads also liked to grab my neck and squeeze it, to this day I do not appreciate my neck being touched. Thankfully, the police arrived, and because the officer witnessed this man's hand on the child's neck, they were able to arrest him. After this incident, the kids moved back to live with their dad in San Francisco and heard less and less from their mom, who stuck beside her abusive Nazi husband.